we are learning here something and propagating to the philosophy of Shri Maharaj Ji, Jagadguru Swami Shri Kripalu Ji Maharaj, the fifth original Jagadguru in the history of India, whose picture is here. And maybe some of you are listening to the lecture of Shri Maharaj Ji every day on TV Asia or Aaj Tak. I want to just tell you in a nutshell that what is the gist of his philosophy, what is the essence. And I would say that there are altogether 5 things which are the pillars of devotion. And the first thing is, which is the essence of devotion and which is the main pillar of devotion, is Rup Dhyan. If you are doing any kind of puja, any kind of worship, and you are not doing Rup Dhyan, Rup means form, Dhyan means meditation. If you are not meditating upon the divine form of God, then you are definitely meditating upon something else. And apart from God, because as I explained that day, there are only 3 entities in the world: Paramatma, Jivatma and Maya. We are the Jiv, and apart from that, there are 2 more entities: Paramatma means God and Maya. So we have to focus on either on Paramatma or on anything which is of Maya, which is material. If we are focusing on the divine form of God, then naturally we are not thinking, we are not focusing on any material being or material thing. If we are thinking about any material being or material thing, then definitely we are not thinking about God. And we want the result of God. We want to get attached to God. We want to attain the bliss of God. We want all this. And that's why we do worship. That's why we are going to the temples. Because we want to know about God and we want to worship God. Without Rup Dhyan, we cannot get even 1 mark in our practice of devotion, which is called sadhana. The first thing is Rup Dhyan. And the second thing, that if we have to do Rup Dhyan, then we have to focus on one form of God. As I said before, that there is only one God. There are different names and different forms of God. He descends on this earth time and time again in different forms according to the need of time, atmosphere. He descends, and every time he plays some different pastimes. He reveals some different attributes. All the powers and all the attributes are there in God all the time. But in every incarnation, he does not reveal all his powers and all his attributes. According to the need of time, he reveals few powers. Like if a very famous wrestler is going and he has only 1 glass of water, then we may think that I heard that he can lift tons at a time. And he is having only a glass of water because he needs glass of water right now. Then he doesn't have to lift up something which is in tons. In the same way, whenever he descends, that he plays different pastimes, but God is only one. So we have to choose one form of God, and then we have to focus on that form of God all the time. And because I said before that with the help of a picture. Why? Because if you are taking the help of a picture, then all the time you will focus on the same face, same form of God. Then when you are thinking about God constantly, the same face, the same name, the same pastime, the same attribute, everything of one form of God all the time, then gradually at least one form of God will come in your mind. You can fix your mind on one form of God, then it will become easier for you to remember God anywhere, doing anything. But if we are changing our Ishtadev, our deity every day, every week, or according to the occasion, then we cannot focus on any form of God. We have to do the practice of focusing on one chosen form of God again and again, every day, every time. Then at least we can remember one form of God, and then you can remember Him all the time, anytime, anywhere, doing anything. So that's why we have to be Ananya. That is called Ananya Bhakti, means exclusive devotion, where we focus on one form of God. But it does not mean that we have to reject other forms of God. Suppose I am the devotee of Lord Krishna, that doesn't mean that I will reject the form of Ram, or if I am going somewhere and there is a temple of Sri Ram, then I say, no, I don't have to go down over there because I am the devotee of Lord Krishna. Or there is a temple of Hanumanji, there is a temple of Shankarji, or there is a temple of Durgaji. Then we should not dishonor, or we should not criticize other forms of God. Rather, Ananya means one who sees his deity everywhere, in everything. If you are the devotee of Sri Krishna, then see Sri Krishna in Ram, see Sri Krishna in Durga, see Sri Krishna in Shankar, see Sri Krishna in Hanumanji, everywhere. Or not only in these forms of God. Rather, if you are looking at the mountain or tree or the river or the ocean or a stone, wherever you look, you have to see, you have to feel the presence of God over there. So, exclusive devotion, Ananya devotion means to see God everywhere and respect everyone with the feeling of God, because you are seeing the presence of God there as well. So this is the second thing which we have to follow. We have to be Ananya. We have to be an exclusive devotee. And number 3, when we are worshipping God, then the third thing is Karuna. Karuna means shedding tears for God. If we shed tears for Him, then our heart gets purified. This is the purpose of sadhana. Because our hearts are dirty. Dirty means we are too much attached to the material world. That's why we cannot bring God in our heart that easily. But when we remember God, and in remembrance of God, if we are shedding tears, then our heart gets more and more purified. And then the attachment, we lose the attachments of the material world, and our attachment to God increases day by day. That's why Ashru, Karuna, means shedding tears in remembrance of God, is also very important. And there is another thing that is called Deenta. Mahaprabhu Chaitanya emphasized on Deenta so much that he said, if you have no humbleness, then you cannot start devotion. To start devotion in the beginning, before you practice devotion, you need to be humble. And humbleness means that you have to feel that yes, I am the abode of all the bad qualities. Because the bad qualities are calm, krodh, lobh, moh. So we all have this. There is none in the world who can challenge that I have no calm, or I have no krodh, or I have no anger, passion, greed, etc. No. Because we are under the control of Maya. And these are the qualities of Maya. So until we are not liberated, until we are not God-realized soul, then we have to undergo all these vices of Maya. Maya is there, then all these things are there for sure. Yeah, you can control your anger, you can control your passion, you control your greed, you can control. And someone can control a lot, but it is not finished. It cannot go forever, completely, no. There is some trace of all these things before God realization. So because we are under the control of Maya, that's why we have anger, passion, greed, etc., everything, and that's why our heart is dirty. When we pronounce the names of God with Roop Dhyan, and when we shed tears also in remembrance of God, then gradually our heart becomes pure and pure. It becomes pure. And then gradually by the grace of Guru, when our heart becomes completely purified, then we see God. Then we attain the divine power of God, and by the divine power of God, we can see God now. In other words, if somebody asks you that who can see God, who can hear the words of God, who can smell the fragrance of God, there is only one answer. God can see God. God can have the fragrance of God. God can hear the words of God. Why? Because when God gives His own divine power to someone, only then with His power we can listen to His words. We can enjoy His form. We can enjoy His pastimes. But if Maya is there, because God is a divine personality, if Maya is there, then we cannot have any subject of God of any senses. That's why we have to be very humble. How humble should we? Mahaprabhu Chaitanya says, Pranadapi suni chena, taro rapi sahishnana, avanina manadena, kirtaniyah sada hari. Pranadapi suni chena. We have to be more humbler than a leaf of grass. We put our boots on the grass, but grass doesn't say anything. Rather, it bends down and it pleases us with its soft touch. Uttran api sunichena, then taro api sahishna. The tree is very much forbearing. He bears everything, and then we take the fruits, we take the flower and everything of the tree. It doesn't say anything. Rather, it gives more flowers and more fruits and everything. And after, we cut it, if we cut the tree, even then He helps us, He gives us the wood and everything.